Okay, so I'm very excited for this matchup. Yuri Prohaska and Jamahal Hill. UFC 311. Finally, Dana White has the audacity, has some shame, and puts on a very exciting card. The UFC 2024 was a complete disaster. I don't care what anyone says. There are no superstars on the horizon. Everything is barely walking on 2 feet. And UFC 2025, I think, is going to be even worse. But they are starting very strong in January. Now we have UFC 311, which is completely stacked, in my opinion. There are some very interesting fights, of course. This one is very interesting. Both these guys coming off of losses. Both these guys arguing with each other as to who lost better against Alex Pereira. It all depends how you look at it. Jamal Hill throws a sloppy straight left and gets countered by a shovel like left hook and gets knocked out dead completely. Or is it better to get your head kicked in the second round, being completely dominated in the first? It all depends how you look at it, but both these two guys, they have no shame to show their faces in public after all these performances. It took Khalil Roundtree, number 7 or 8, ranked in the light heavyweight division, to display some competence, to have a very engaging fight and somewhat competitive against Alex Pereira. So these two guys, I think, in my opinion, fumbled the bag. In my opinion, both these guys, when the lights are shining very bright, they go blind because they cannot handle the pressure, especially Jamal Hill. I really am interested because this guy puts so much pressure on himself as if this guy is some kind of a town hero. I really don't know this guy, where is he from, but he puts so much pressure on his shoulders as if he is leading a nation into war, as if he has some murals in his towns or anywhere in his city where he's from the villages. I don't actually know, but this guy puts so much pressure on himself and unnecessary. No one is gathering around you. You need to relax a little bit. Against Alex Pereira, completely, I think, starstruck, completely nervous, and he fumbled this opportunity entirely. So, in terms of breaking down this fight, it's the hardest fight to predict on this UFC event, in my opinion. Like I said, both these guys coming off of losses. Jamal Hill, a slight underdog because I think because of his injuries and hasn't fought in some time. Yuri Prohaska, I think his style of creating all this chaos, getting hit with clean punches, will not be feasible in the future. Jamal Hill hits very hard, and I think this approach is not going to be good. When Yuri Prohaska is a little bit timid and when he's afraid of the power that you bring, he gets nervous, he gets timid, he gets a little bit scared, and you can back him up very, very easily. So this is the problem with Yuri Prohaska, but also the problem is if you have no power, if you allow this guy to press you, if you allow this guy to create chaos, he's not going to respect you. He's going to go forward, march you down, walk you down, try to create this chaos and completely fold you over. He did this against Alexander Rakic. I think Rakic is a very good fighter, very good technically on the feet. He does everything well. But the problem with Rakic is no focus at all, no discipline. He should have been doing everything in his power to do as he did in the beginning, hitting the lead leg, hitting him with clean, straight punches down the middle. And of course, after some time, Yuri Prohaska was pressing, taking more risks. And the problem with Alexander Rakic, he has pillow hands. There is no respect. He's going to be reckless. He's going to press you down, Yuri Prohaska. And he got the finish against Alexander Rakic, which was a very good win. And but in my opinion, he's not going to be doing this against Jamal Hill. I've been going back and forward with this matchup. It's really hard to predict. If Jamal Hill has the power to make Yuri Prohaska timid, make him a little bit scared, push him from himself a little bit, then I think Jamal Hill can win a decision against this guy, even get the finish if he gets hit clean on the chin. So but also, there is a probability that he'll gets pressed and he folds because we've seen against Alex Pereira, he completely froze under the bright lights and got himself knocked out. So in this matchup, it all depends. But I'm leaning towards Jamal Hill having enough power, being awkward enough to not engage with Yuri Prohaska too much. And also, what I like about Jamal Hill is his high kick. It's very fast, it's very strong. And yeah, I think Yuri Prohaska, his chin, if it's good, if it's still intact after all this time, he's been knocked out dead several times. If his chin is still intact, if he can create this chaos and apply pressure, of course, I can see Jamal Hill folding just like Rakic did. But in my opinion, I think what's more probable is Jamal Hill has enough power to make Yiri Prohaska a little bit more timid. He can attack the lead leg. Prohaska was wobbling in that Rakic fight completely. And yeah, so for me, in this breakdown, I'm going to pick Jamal Hill. I've been going back and forth because I still see a situation where Hill gets completely overwhelmed. And but for me, in this pick, I'm going to go the safer one because I put everything on paper. I think Jamal Hill, a little bit better fighter on paper. He has, I think, a little bit more power. I think he has a good high kick. I think he has good movement, good cardio. Everything is put together, but of course, it all depends. Mentally, this guy is completely lost completely, lost his mind. Chasing down Alex Pereira in the Performance Institute, trying to bluff his way into title contention, of course. I approve. Fighters need to bluff their ways into opportunities. Uh, I've also made a video. I think there was zero reason for him to put on the gloves, and this is also Alex Pereira bluff as well. So two guys bluffing each other, and you need to bluff your way, of course, through tough situations. If someone presses you, walks up to you, you need to also put on the face. So for this breakdown, like I said, it all depends. Yiri Prohaska's chin is a question mark. Jamal Hill's question mark is his mentality, is his injuries, is he in physical shape? And also the question is Jamal Hill has power to make Yuri Prohaska timid, make Yuri Prohaska not go engaging recklessly. If he engages recklessly, then Hill should be able to capitalize on it. I think this is Hill's fight to lose. On paper, everything should be on his side, but still, we shall see what's going to happen. It's the hardest fight to predict, and because people do not like Jamal Hill that much, I'm indifferent for this guy. I think he's a little bit funny. I think you need to bluff. He's bluffing a little bit as well. I think he's a little bit on the spectrum also, but we're not going to judge him for that. Uh, I'm always charitable with all the fighters I look at, watch, and analyze. So my official pick for this, like I said, Jamal Hill, and the UFC light heavyweight division is a complete dumpster fire. I've already made a video before talking about this, and my theory is that the UFC they want to cash in on Alex Pereira, but the problem is they don't have to cash in no one to cash in for. Money in the bank. There is no belt for to cash in. The timing is not good. There is no one to cash in. Throwing money on Magomed Ankalaev is basically throwing your money down the drain because I literally do not even know the sound of his voice. I never seen him talk at all. So Magomed Ankalaev, I think it's easier to promote a plank of wood as the champion than Magomed Ankalaev, and I think this is the truth. I'm talking from the business perspective of the UFC, of course, Dana White. In terms of sporting aspect, of course, Magomed Ankalaev should be fighting for the UFC light heavyweight belt, but Alex Pereira, 37 years of age, the UFC, I think they want to cash in. And this is why we are hearing these ridiculous freak show rumors about him against Hamza Chimaev. This is a complete freak show fight that I'm not approving at all. And for me, I'm not interested in that fight. I do not care the UFC being desperate completely, trying to cash him in. If this happens, then my theory stands completely that the UFC, Dana White, they want to cash in on Alex Pereira. The problem is they wanted to do this with John Jones, but it's also not feasible because they need to make the Tom Aspinall fight. I've been going on a tangent. So I'm very sorry. Thank you for watching the video, and See you on the next one.